We are now less than 24 hours away from the kickoff of the 2015 NFL season. After a summer full of drama that had nothing to do with football, the actual game is back. So you know what that means. Welcome to the best damn NFL preview. This is the 2015 Best Damn NFL Preview. Welcome all. I'm going to try to make this quick as possible, but we do know I tend to run a little long. So we're going to start this off with the AFC. And when I look at the AFC conference, I see three teams that sit above the rest. And then there are about two other teams in the second tier, and the rest are just pretenders. Now, I'm just going to start by division and just go through. We're going to start with the defending champions, New England Patriots, and the AFC East. When it looked like Tom Brady was going to miss 4 weeks of action, due to that Deflategate BS, that was a whole bunch of nothing in the end, but that's a topic for another day. But when I thought Tom Brady would be out 4 weeks, and I saw Garoppolo play in the preseason, I started to think the Miami Dolphins could really win this division with the upgrades they have made to their team. Adding Jordan Cameron to their offense, Kenny Stills to their offense, and then bringing in Ndamukong Suh. Now, I'm a Patriots fan. I'll admit that. So when I found out Ndamukong was headed to the AFC East, I just dropped my head and wiped some sweat from my forehead, because now we got somebody that could possibly end Brady's career. Let's not forget about Ndamukong's dirty tactics. I could really see him ending Tom Brady's career, and maybe not even on a dirty play, just a clean hit. He is a scary guy to see come running at you, and he is one that will make you consider retiring early, just the impact of his hits. But with those additions, Ndamukong Suh, Jordan Cameron, just to name a couple, I thought Miami might take the next step. And I still think they're going to be around 10 wins this season. Ryan Tannehill continues to progress. They got rid of Mike Williams, brought in Kenny Stills. They still have Lamar Miller, who averaged over 5 yards per carry a season ago. Their defensive line was already pretty good. You add Ndamukong to that. Now they're probably elite. So I like what Miami is doing. I like the direction they're headed in. And I think they'll probably finish second behind the New England Patriots. The whole AFC East has improved, though. This is going to be a lot tougher division for the Pats to win. New York, we know they took Darrelle Revis away from the defending champs. They also added Antonio Cromartie, another receiver, and Brandon Marshall. Their problem is they have Geno Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick as their options at quarterback. I personally like Fitzpatrick better than Geno Smith, but for some reason, he is their starter once he is able to come back as of now. And if they're going to play Geno, you can kiss this season goodbye as far as contending in the AFC East. And then as for Buffalo, I like what they're doing as well. Brought in Rex Ryan as the new head coach. We already know last year they have a stout defensive line. Their defense is pretty good overall. They brought in Percy Harvin. They traded for LaShawn McCoy. Their offense is much improved. They still have Sammy Watkins. The only problem for Buffalo, they just don't have a quarterback. And for that fact, they're not going to compete in this conference to win it. I think they'll be a tough out. They could win 8 to 9 games. But the fact that Tyrod Taylor is their starting quarterback, I cannot sign up for that, and I cannot get behind it and believe there will be a threat to make the playoffs or even win the AFC East. So, as far as the AFC itself goes, again, I think this is the Patriots' division to take for another year. But Miami will be coming, and they will be challenging, maybe even be a playoff team. The Bills, they're also much improved from a season ago. And even the Jets adding Darrelle Revis, Antonio Cromartie, plus Brandon Marshall. But this is still the Patriots division. They still have Gronkowski, Tom Brady. And to be honest, along with Bill Belichick, I honestly think that's all you necessarily need. The rest will work itself out. Now, transitioning to the AFC South. This division, we should already know who is going to win. This division has one good quarterback in it, and he happens to be a great quarterback or on the brinks of becoming great, and that would be Andrew Luck. And with Andrew Luck, there isn't a chance that another team wins the AFC South title. Tennessee, they have Marcus Mariota, rookie quarterback, who I think can end up being something good, but it's going to take a little time. Jacksonville, they have Blake Bortles at quarterback. He is still a project, and we're not still 100% sure he can make it on the next level. Then you go to Houston, who has J.J. Watt, probably the best player, especially on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL. They have a good defense, but they now have Brian Hoyer as their quarterback, who we saw have a terrible stretch to end the season for the Browns last year. Just for that fact that those three teams have those three quarterbacks, their fan bases shouldn't even be thinking about a division title, because not only has Indianapolis improved their offense for Andrew Luck, their defense is also improved. And even if Indianapolis didn't improve their defense and they brought back a respectable one, they're just not in the same class as Indianapolis, and they're being Tennessee, Jacksonville, and Houston. Indianapolis is an 11-win team at the least, and with their new additions, I'm guessing 12 or 13 this upcoming season. They're going to be a real threat to be in the Super Bowl. Now, moving on to the AFC West. That division, I think, although there are good teams in San Diego, Kansas City, that are respectable, that have a chance to win 10 games maybe, this is still Peyton and the Broncos' division to lose. Now, I know a lot of people are getting fatigued with the Broncos and the fact that they haven't had great postseason success with Peyton Manning, and he's now approaching 40 years old. But I'm sorry, I can't buy into Alex Smith. As much as I like Alex Smith personally at quarterback, I can't buy into it. The Chiefs, they're going to be good, a 9-10 win team. But the fact that you have Alex Smith at quarterback, I cannot put you above a team that is going to be ran by Peyton Manning at quarterback. He is still the best regular season quarterback of all time, and he put up pretty gaudy numbers last year as well. In the regular season, Peyton has not really tailed off. I know Father Time will finally catch up with Peyton as well as Brady and as well as every NFL player. But I do not believe it will be this season. Kansas City, I believe, will be the biggest threat in the AFC West. But even with Jeremy Maclin coming in, joining that wide receiving crew, which I will finally think get the Chiefs a touchdown by a wide receiver, which they did not have all of last season. I'm sorry, as much as a fan of Alex Smith I am, I just can't buy into a team that is led by him. I didn't see teams fail time and time again. I think he can get a team to the promised land. You just got to have a stout defense like San Francisco had the year that Kaepernick got him there. I think Smith would have too, but that's a topic for another day. As far as it goes for Oakland, we know their situation. They're building for the future. Derek Carr looks like he's a promising quarterback. They just added Amari Cooper, drafted Khalil Mack last year. I like the direction they're headed in. This isn't their year, though. They'll probably win 5 games, 7 if they max out their potential. But they're just not in the class of a Kansas City and even San Diego. I don't know what it is. A team led by Phillip Rivers, I thought could be a real playoff and even Super Bowl contender. But the past 5 seasons, San Diego hasn't won over 10 games with Phillip Rivers at quarterback. They did draft Melvin Gordon, who I think could possibly be a good running back. But with running back being disposable in today's NFL, I don't know how good of a pick that would end up being 5 years from now. But for the time being, for the Phillip Rivers era, I think he will be an adequate running back. He may end up being a star, give San Diego a chance to see what he can be. And with Phillip Rivers as a good quarterback already on the team if he is able to take his game to the level that they hope. Maybe San Diego will be in the conversation for the Super Bowl, for playoff contention next year. But this upcoming season, I see a similar story for the Chargers. Maybe 9 wins, maybe 8-8. But I think their max out is 9. I can't see them winning more than 9 games. And for that fact, Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos will walk away with this division for another year. For the, 3rd straight year now that Peyton has been there, maybe 4th. Who knows how many years Peyton's been there. It's felt like forever. But now, moving on to the last division in the AFC, which is the closest division in the AFC. And I see 3 teams finishing above 500. And that will be the AFC North. And those 3 teams will be Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens, and who I think will win the division for a 2nd straight year at the least, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben was fantastic a season ago, putting up gaudy numbers. The first time I seen him really put up stats that let you know, hey, Big Ben is an elite quarterback in this league. I've always doubted him at this level as far as him being an elite quarterback. I thought he was in the 2nd tier with Matt Ryan and those such quarterbacks, Phillip Rivers. No, I wouldn't put Andy Dalton in there just yet. Yeah, I still consider Eli 2nd tier in that sort of range. Cam Newton, Eli Manning, Matt Ryan. But no, last year, Big Ben showed he is an elite quarterback in the league. Top 5, I have him behind just Rodgers, Brady, and Manning in that specific order. So I actually have Roethlisberger 4th, with Breeze rounding out the top 5. But when I look at all these teams in the division, especially the other 3, they're all pretty fraudulent. The Browns, they're a disgrace. I live in Cleveland. I'm not even going to talk about that. Oh, man. I'll end up sounding like Stephen A. Smith. Let me just move on. Cincinnati, 4 straight playoff appearances, no wins. They're not going to do anything special. They may win a playoff game finally this year, but that's probably about it if they max out. Baltimore, I know they went on a title run 3 years ago. And I know they gave the Pats a run for their money in the divisional round of the playoffs just a season ago. But it's just something about this team that I cannot buy into. Now, once they get to the playoffs, they're no walkover. So if Baltimore ends up there, they're going to be a tough opponent for whoever they go up against. But I don't know. When I just look at this team, this is not the same team of 3 years ago. Their defense isn't as good. They lost pieces as well as on offense. So I don't know. I just can't see it with this Baltimore Ravens team. They will be a borderline wildcard team. I think the Steelers are just a cut above with Big Ben playing at an elite level, having an elite receiver as Antonio Brown. And then they have a top 3 running back, maybe top 5 in Le'Veon Bell. Their offense is going to be amongst the best in the league, up there with the Colts, Packers, and Patriots. And for that fact, they'll be in the playoffs. But I also believe they are fraudulent, along with the Denver Broncos, when it comes to the AFC title, to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I believe that is down to 2 teams. That would be the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I'm a Pats fan, so some may think, of course, Patriots. But no, the Indianapolis Colts. I believe they will represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. New England and Tom Brady, yes, they're fresh off a Super Bowl victory in which they needed Pete Carroll to be a complete idiot and want to throw it when the ball was on the 1-yard line, for Malcolm Butler to make an epic interception that will be forever remembered. But this Patriots team lost a lot of key pieces this offseason. Both of their starting cornerbacks. And one of those starters would be Darrelle Revis, who is either the first or second best cornerback in the league, along with Brandon Browner, who is also an up-and-coming cornerback who could become great one day. They lost Vince Wilfork off the defensive line. Shane Vereen, their running back, who was a versatile running back who could catch and run, as well as Stephen Ridley. So the Patriots, they have taken some hefty losses. But the only hurdle in between Andrew Luck, the Colts, and the Super Bowl has been the New England Patriots. Just a year ago, Andrew Luck was able to defeat Peyton Manning. And now, with the addition of Andre Johnson to his receiving core, which now gives him a possession receiver, a big target, this will free up the coverage even more, because now teams just don't have to account for T.Y. Hilton. They have to worry about Andre Johnson, a 6'5" possession receiver who is still amongst the best receivers in the league. The fact that Andrew Luck was able to beat Peyton Manning in the playoffs a year ago, add Andre Johnson to the offense in Indianapolis, as well as Frank Gore, possibly giving Andrew Luck a running game as well? Oh, watch out, NFL. This was already probably the most potent offense in the league a year ago. I know they had the most passing yards of any team in the NFL a season ago. And not only that, the Colts also improved their defense, adding Trent Cole to the mix, as well as Kendall Langford. And for that fact, I believe this is the year Andrew Luck gets over the hurdle. New England has taken too many losses this year. Brady will be another year older. The AFC East will be even tighter, meaning he will have 6 tougher games than usual. And I just believe those losses that the Patriots suffered in Darrelle Revis and Brandon Browner to their defense will be too much to overcome against that Indianapolis Colts offense. Andrew Luck, I believe, will be able to put up points, and we will see Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts representing the AFC in Super Bowl 50.